Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Polkadot. This is going to be a lower time frame video. A higher time frame video is up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so within our bullish count that we were previously following, what we are saying is we're looking for the potential here that we could be looking at this move as a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, looking for this potential of pushing up towards this zone here of this $6.29. Now, if we do look to push up higher here towards the zone of this 1618 here at the 755, this could align with this move starting to turn into a bigger impulse to the upside here, in which case what we're looking for is a 5-wave move, which could potentially look to push us up towards this $8.46 to this $7.89. Now, within this idea here, what we would be saying is that this move here is looking at this move as a bigger A wave, a B wave down, and looking for this as a 5-wave pattern, potentially for this as a C wave. Now, if this is the case, what we would then be looking for would be this 5-wave move to the upside, and then the potential to still see a move to the downside here in an additional Y wave. Now, with this idea here, there is also the potential within our bearish count that what we could see is something along these lines here, where what we were saying is that from further back here, we have this as a triangle. And what we are looking for is that X wave could potentially be over here. And where we could see is this is A, B, and C, where we see a direct move to the downside towards this $3.46. Minimum requirement that I would want to see here is this 0.618, but in reality, I would like to see this A wave get taken, so then potentially the lower targets here would be the 786 to this 1-to-1 zone. Now, within this idea here, what we'd be saying is that for the bullish count to play out, what we're looking for is 5-wave structure to the upside. Now, it is possible that within this, we could have completed already into this low, and if we come down here onto a smaller time frame, what we'd then be saying is that this move here is potentially A, B, and then C to the downside. Now, this could be a completed move, but the problem is that if we have this as a diagonal pattern here, then what we need to be careful of is that a 3-wave move to the upside here could align with this extending where this is either A, B, and C, or alternatively, this whole move becomes a W and X, and then we're looking for a Y wave down still. So we need to be very careful of this idea. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to discuss what would happen here if we are looking for this move to continue down where this corrective pattern is not completed. Though for as long as we actually hold this $4.20, this bullish count stays alive. Now the support zone we are looking for is this 486 to this 447. Now we can see lower down here we do have this central channel line, which is around that 786 level, so I am going to be keeping an eye on that if we do see price coming down into those levels. So we can potentially also look at this as A, B, and C here for a Y wave. Now, if we are looking at this in this way, what we'd be saying is that this could be WXY. Now, the thing that we need to be aware of here is if this is going to be a triple corrective structure where we have 3 of these 3-wave moves in a row, what we could still see is 3 waves to the upside and then still getting this Z wave to the downside. Now, the X wave 1-to-1 is up here at this 541, so that is the same as this X wave over here. So if we do just see 3 waves to the upside here, we could potentially still see something like this play out where we're still within a bigger corrective pattern. Now, this would still align with our breakout count and potentially mean we're going to see price push down towards this 469 to this 447 level. So going to be watching out for this if we are looking at this as incomplete. Now, there is also the potential here that what we could see is that we could just take this whole move into this area here as a W wave, in which case we could look for a bigger X wave to the upside. Now, if we're looking for a bigger X wave here, what we could see is something like this is ABC, then we get another 3-wave move down, and then we see something like another 3-wave structure up here, or we could get something like a flat correction, and then looking for this Y wave to the downside. So these X waves can be anything they want to be, so we need to just be on the lookout for this. The key thing within this is I would typically expect rejection here between this 786 and this 50%. So if we do see just a 3-wave move up here and we fail to break above this zone, then we could be looking for this possibility where we could still see a move down towards this 461 level, where this is just a bigger corrective move. Now, if we are arguing that that's bullish count is already completed, it's B wave or wave 2 into this low here, what we could then see is that this move could start to break to the upside. So we're going to come in a little bit closer here and go over this idea. Now, if we are looking at this as a corrective move here, where this is effectively our 1, we're looking at this as a wave 2, we could actually have this already completed because we have come down towards this 50% level. Now, it is also possible that we could argue here that this is W, this is X, and we're looking for A, B, and C. So until we actually start breaking back above this high, we need to be careful of this idea that we could still see a little bit more downside upside here, still looking at this as a bullish breakout. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing this 483. Now, if we do see this play out where either this is completed now and we look to reverse to the upside, or alternatively, we see A, B, and C, and we look to push down towards this 491 level, this would align quite nicely with the one-to-one of this A wave over here, or W wave if it's going to be an extension. And then that would also align with coming back down here towards the 702 level. If we do see a slight extension in this, the 786 is sitting at this 489. If we start to lose 489, this idea of a direct push to the upside starts to become less likely. And what would be more likely then is that we are in one of those bigger corrective structures. If, however, we continue to hold this level, what I will be looking for is primarily at the moment evidence to see whether this low over here is a completed low, and we're looking for this wave 3, but we'd only get confirmation by a move up towards this 541 level. So if we do start to see price building 5-wave structure here, looking to actually push us to the upside in a 5-wave move, what we could see is a move up towards this 1618 level, which would then align with this idea that this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if we do see this 5th wave target here, what we'd be looking for is this zone here, this 552 to this 545 as a possible target within this count. Now, this would then align with the idea that we are starting to see impulsive structure here, looking to develop to the upside, where we could then see this push up in a bigger way. Now, if we are looking at this as 1, 2 here, what we could also see here, if we do see a 5-wave move that fails to hit that 1.618 in the first hit, is we could see this develop as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is our bullish count. If we invalidate this by crossing this $4.95, then we would still be looking at that possibility here that we could see this as A, B, and have one more push to the downside. If we do look to hold this level of this $4.95, we could see this develop as 5 waves up, in which case this would potentially look to push us up towards this 512 to this 510. Now, we'd have to be careful here, because if we do just see this, this could also just be A, B, and C, and then we look to break down in a bigger way. But if we do manage to continue to hold this support zone here, we could look to find this actually becomes a wave 1. We see 3 waves back to the downside here, in which case we look to target out this 50% to the 786 most commonly, in which case we'd look for 3 waves down and then have an additional 5-wave structure to the upside. So this is how we could potentially look to extend out and look to hit some of those higher targets. So if we do see this, what we'd then be looking for is a move into this white box area, and then seeing price develop as a bigger 5-wave pattern up here towards this $5.35. So the key zone within this lower degree count here, obviously what we first need to see is whether this low holds. We need to see whether we develop 5 waves up. If we develop 5 waves up, how we react after that point. Because if we do see a move back down in 3 waves towards this white target box area, and we hold this 498, then we could be looking for that possibility of that bigger break to the upside here, where this becomes 1, 2, and then effectively this would push us up towards the zone of this $5.41. So we're looking for that evidence of this low here. We need to see whether it continues to hold and whether we actually do continue to see structure developing to the upside. If we fail to do so, what we need to be careful of is the more bearish count here, where we're looking for that possibility of that C wave down. And if we do see something like this, where we're going to count this as effectively a diagonal pattern into this low, what we could actually see is that we could still just see 3 waves to the upside, pushing up towards this 557 to this 525 area, and then looking for continuation to the downside. So within this idea here, this would be our bearish count, where we're looking for that C wave down. What we could see is a small 3-wave structure up here, and then looking for continuation down towards this $4. Now, this would be based off of coming up towards this 0.618 area, which is sitting here towards this zone of this $5.35. If we see just 3 waves up, this could align then with a bigger breakdown, looking for this idea of this 3rd wave here, 4th wave, and 5th wave. Though, you know, within that bullish count, we still need to just respect that if we do just see this develop as A, B, and C, we could still see another push to the upside where this becomes a bigger A, B, and a C pattern. So it's going to be very important here to see how the waves are reacting. If we do fail to actually push up here and fail to hold this low, then it becomes more likely that from further back we have something like this as a flat correction, and we could be getting some extension within the waves here, where this actually becomes 1, 2, and then we are looking for a bigger 3rd, 4th, and a 5th, and then this would mean that from further back here we have a series of 1s and 2s, in which case we'd have another fourth and a fifth over here because of this one, two, and then potentially another one over here. So yeah, that would be how we would extend to the downside. So it's going to be key here for our bullish count to stay alive that we need to hold this level here of this 483 in the most immediate term here. If we are looking for this slightly further back here, what we need to do is actually hold this zone here of this 486 to this 447. If we start to break down more impulsively here, we need to be very careful that if we start losing 447, this bullish count starts to become less likely. Having a look at the daily CPR lines, we can see that we are currently sitting in between these, so between this 499 and this $5. If we do continue to hold this level, what we could see is price could be gravitated towards this 532. We have this 576, we have this 510, and this 515 as potential targets. Now, if we do see price looking to push up here, we could look for potential pivots from these levels, in which case, if we do just see three waves up, we need to be careful of the idea of continuation down. If we do start to see that 5-wave structure, this could align with coming into some of these higher target areas. Now, if we do start to see price break down, we can see that we have come down and we have already hit this S1 line, which is sitting at this 495. If we do look to come back down here, we can potentially look to find support here again at this level, or alternatively, if we lose that, we have this 492, 487, and this 484 is potential downside targets. Now, moving over and having a look at the weekly pivots here, what we can see is that we've actually printed a lower CPR line. So this is giving us an initial bearish bias here. But what we can also see at the moment is we are currently holding above these central lines. If we continue to hold above these central lines, what we could see is price could actually look to retrace down here towards this 498 to this 497. And we could look for that potential of a break to the upside. If we do start to break to the upside, targets for this week are this $5.11. We have this 524 and this area here of this 538 as possible targets. If, however, we start to see price break down, we lose these central lines here and we start to push to the downside, what we could actually see is that price could be gravitated towards this 484. We have this lower level here of this 470 and this 457 as downside targets for this week. Now, moving over and having a look at the monthly pivots, what we can see here is that on our monthly pivots, we did print those higher CPR lines. We do have potential here because we have actually tested this already that we could be getting gravitated towards this S1 line. So this 480 is going to be a zone I'm going to be watching if we do see another low come into play here. If we do look to find support here, we could see price potentially look to pivot to the upside here and then either start trending up or alternatively see price move up and then start to move back down. Now, if we do see price actually look to push back up here in a three-wave move, I'm going to be looking out for potential to find resistance here at this 519, 528, and this 536. If we just see three waves up, this would align with that idea that this is still in a bigger corrective structure, looking to push down one more time where we're looking for that X wave. If, however, we start to push up higher than these CPR lines and turn this into support, then we have the potential to see price push towards this 558. We have this 606 and this 637 as potential targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.